In 1861, Jeremiah S. Gilbert inherited a 500-acre plantation on the southern edge of Atlanta. 1 acre was set aside as a slave cemetery. That same year, he left to fight in the Civil War. He returned 4 years later and found his original house had been destroyed. The modest but sturdy clapboard and fieldstone home he built upon the ashes of the old stayed in his family for generations as the farmland around it transformed into the suburban neighborhood now known as Perkerson. In the 1980s, the house was purchased by the city of Atlanta and put on the National Registry of Historic Places. Preserved in antiquity with public funds, the Jeremiah S. Gilbert House has become an arts and community center. The cemetery 2 miles away, however, did not fare so well. Although it continued being used by the African American community, and over 1,000 persons were estimated to have been buried there, decades into the 20th century it fell into disrepair. Sometime in the 1950s, it was actually destroyed by unknown persons, and concerned family members were powerless to prevent it. In 1983, the then unmarked and forgotten graves were rediscovered during the expansion of Interstate 75. It came to light that the few remaining headstones had been moved to the storage room of a nearby motel liquor store, as the proprietors had felt the close proximity of the grave markers were bad for business. Attempting to proceed with as little change to their original plans as possible, the Department of Transportation proposed marking the spot with a 7-foot statue of Jesus by the highway. Controversy ensued as some, but not all, of the descendants took issue with the projected statue's Caucasian appearance not being a suitable memorial to these ex-slaves and their families. Also, the ACLU questioned the legality of a religious symbol on public land. In the end, the DOT placed a group of 53 grave markers and a 15-foot obelisk listing names of the known deceased interred there. The few original gravestones salvaged from the motel liquor store were restored to the site, but most of the markers and the obelisk were made from cement left over from paving the highways. The markers were installed symmetrically, but also arbitrarily, not indicative of actual graves, but simply denoting the general area. The DOT then put up a roadside historical marker, naming it the Gilbert Memorial Cemetery, although Gilbert himself was not buried there, and considered the business concluded. So that is how it stands now, at the beginning of 2023. To access the site, one must park on the highway ramp median and walk along the edge of the road to the historical marker and obelisk. Then, stepping carefully to avoid the trash and human waste at the base of the obelisk, climb down a steep hill to the actual cemetery. But most people, thousands daily, drive by with a mere fleeting glance, wondering for just a short moment what is that odd group of markers over there in the loop of that highway on-ramp, not knowing they are passing one of the oldest African American cemeteries in the Atlanta area.